Okay, and welcome back to the series on creating our HTML, CSS, and JavaScript theme from scratch. So in the previous video, we worked on this pricing table to list all of our packages, bronze, silver, and gold. And in today's video, we're going to be concentrating on this theme block here, which lists our team members. We've got Gareth Marenghi, Lisa Lashes, Ben Parker, and Sarah Flynn. What I think I'm going to do for this video is obviously list these people here the way this is illustrated here in our visual, but also as we hover over each team member, this little section down here, this white section, is going to lift up to reveal some social media icons. I think that could be pretty nifty. Okay, so let's jump right in. So first up, I found these royalty-free images on unsplash.com, and I will list the credits in the description below. But yeah, I basically just typed in something like portrait, man, woman, whatever it may be. And then I came up with these guys here. Okay, so let's crack open our editor. Again, following our format as before, I'm just going to create a new item here called block our theme. Okay, so that is number 14. Scrolling down, and then again, I'll just copy and paste the previous comment here for this new area. Paste that in, and again, change the name. Alrighty, so now we have our CSS area ready to go. Let's create the markup. So underneath our pricing table, I'm actually going to copy some code from the previous section, referencing the visual again. So again, we're kind of, our last few headings have been center aligned, which is perfect for this new section. I can just copy and paste it from the pricing area, just like that. I'm going to change pricing to maybe team members. Okay, so now we have section ID equals team members, our wrapper, our text align H2, and we'll call that our team as per the visual. And now we have our grid row again. So as we have 4 items here, 3, 6, 9, 12, we'll change this span to a 3. Let me close them off here real quick. Add a little test in here. Pricing table, we do need to change that. So instead of team members, I'll say team member singular. And there we go. Okay, so what are these sections actually made of? We can see an image, and then we can see a content area down below with a heading and what looks to be a paragraph tag. Then what I'll do is once we hover over the team member, we'll hover up the social media icons. Right, let's code this team member block up. So first off, I'm going to add a placeholder for the image with an empty src attribute. Pop in the alt attribute also, because I sometimes forget this. And then I'll just encase the image in an anchor tag. Next port of call is creating the content area. That will hold our heading, paragraph, and social media icons. But for the moment, I'll just pop in some placeholder text. Now, next up, let's sort out the images. So as I said, I've used unsplash.com to source my images. And here is what I've come up with, these 4 people here. Now, when you download images online from these websites such as unsplash.com, generally the images are going to be different sizes. So in my graphics editor, all I've done is make sure each photo conforms to the exact size I want, which is 1200 pixels in width and 1500 pixels in height. And as we can see here, all of these images are the exact same size. And once I have those images ready to go, all I have to do is export each one into the images folder in our website. And I might go so far as even creating a subfolder called team inside of our images folder. And here it is now in our VS Code editor. So we've got all our team members inside of our team folder. Okay, and now it's time to add in our first team member. So now I can change this empty src attribute to /images team, and the first one is Garth. So we'll just say in the alt tag, profile photo of Garth Marenghi. And we simply save that, have a peek on the web page, And our first team member of Garth Marenghi is now showing. But some eagle-eyed viewers out there might be seeing a very large image that is not conforming to our little team member area. Why is that? Well, it seems that if we don't explicitly give it a max width or a width of 100%, the image just goes to full size of the image dimensions, which is 1200 pixels. So now is the perfect time to go back into our CSS file and add this image tag as a global style. So we'll say max width is 100% and height is auto. And this sorts our little issue here quite nicely. Now, what's next? We need to add in our heading and our role, which is just a paragraph tag. I'll pop in the heading first, which is probably going to be a H4, possibly a H5, depending on the size we need. Let's have a quick look at that. And it's not bad, but I'd probably prefer it a tiny bit smaller. So I'm going to go with a H5. And that looks a little bit too small. Let's inspect here and see what's going on. Okay, that makes sense. So we actually don't have a H5 just yet. In our previous examples, we've only really made headings 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now is the perfect time to create a H5 style. So all I'll do is copy the H4 styling, change it to H5, bring the font size down to maybe 1.8 rem, and tweak the line height. Perfect, very happy with that. So we're going to leave that H5 at font size 1.8 rem. So we have the team member name, which is Gareth Marenghi. Now we need to give him a role, which is CEO. And I think I'm just going to use a paragraph tag for this area because 1.6 rem should look quite good here. Now, as I'm playing around here and not copying the visual verbatim, I didn't actually include the light blue background in the pricing table in the previous video. So I think I'm going to include the light blue background in our team section just to separate the content a little bit. And in our team members section, let's add in the class for this background, which is primary-light-bg. And then we get a lovely background of our light blue color. Now, I think it's time we start styling up these team members. So first off, I'm going to give this area a 1 pixel red border. And then I'll concentrate on each team member. First thing I think I'll do is make the background a white color. So this in turn makes the content area white. We can see that the visual has a gray border around each team member, but as we're using a light background, I'm going to omit this. The next thing we're going to do is to center align the heading and a paragraph. We can easily achieve this by saying text align center inside of our content area. And now our heading and paragraph are all nicely centered. And I think next what I'm going to do is make the content area position absolute. Because as previously mentioned, what I'd like to do is to add some social media icons below the text. And then when we hover over each team member, the social media icons hover into view. Okay, save that. This content area now looks a little bit out of whack. We just need to fix that in a moment. But first, I'm going to give the parent, which is the team member, a position of relative. Now, because we made the content area position absolute, it takes it out of the flow. So we're going to have to add a background color of white again to the content area. And then give it a width of 100%. And this is starting to look a bit better. Now I'll just position it to the bottom of our team member div. Now we're left with the content area taking up a fair bit of room in our team member area. We'll sort that in a mo, but first let's add some padding to this content area. And let's see what 2 rem looks like. And there looks to be a bit more padding towards the bottom, but I guess this is inherited from the paragraph tag, having a margin bottom of 1.6 rem. Okay, so we need to remove that. And also probably decrease the margin bottom from the heading also. But anyway, back to the point at hand, and the content area with 2 rem looks okay, but I think I'm going to add a bit more padding. I'm going to increase the padding to 2.4 rem and see how that looks. Yep, that looks a bit more breathable, so I leave that padding at 2.4 rem. And what will we tackle next? Well, I think I'm going to give the overall team member div a height of maybe 400 or 420 pixels, just because our content area is taking up the majority of the bottom space and kind of cutting off our image a bit. So let's give it a height now. So into the team member area, let's say height, maybe let's see what 500 pixels looks like. No, that's probably a bit too tall. Let's go back to our original plan of saying 420 pixels. And that's perfect. I'm going to leave it at 420 pixels in height. A quick reference on the visual. So we just need to match up the margins for the heading and the paragraph. Let's do that now. And I'll first target the H5 heading. So instead of the normal margin, which I think is margin bottom 1.6 rem, I'm going to make it closer to the paragraph tag, which is the role of the person. And I'm going to say margin bottom is now 0.5 rem. Okay, fantastic. Now let's completely remove the margin bottom on our paragraph tag, so there's no extra white space down below. Perfect. So now we have equal padding all the way around of our content area. Now, what's next? Looking at the visual here, we can see that the images are grayscale. So let's do this next. And all I'm going to do is use the filter style and the grayscale value of 1. So targeting the image inside of our team member, I'll pop this in here. A quick refresh, and we can see that our image is now fully grayscale. Now it's time to copy in our social media icons from the top bar and paste them in below our heading and our paragraph text inside of our team member. Copy the whole unordered social media icon list. And I'm going to paste it just below the paragraph tag or the job role. Okay, now let's begin the styling. And I'm just going to target team member and then the ul.socialmedia icons. Inside here, I'll start off with a red pixel border just to see exactly what's going on as per usual. And then I think the next thing I'll do is to display all of the icons on one row. And I'll use display flex for this. And awesome. Now we can see that the icons are aligned to the right. I guess this is inherited from the top bar. So we'll just overwrite this and we'll say justify content is center. And great, now our icons are all center aligned. Now, as I want these icons to fade from the bottom upwards, I'm going to give them a position of absolute. And then I'll simply give it a width of 100%. Oh, no, forget that. I need to accommodate the padding on each side, which is 2.4 rem. So I'll say width is now calc 100% minus 4.8 rem to accommodate the padding on both sides. A quick save, and now we can finally see that everything is nicely center aligned. Get rid of that red border. And next up is, well, let's remove that text decoration underline from the links first. So I'll just say any links inside of our content area, inside of our team member, will be text decoration none. And that removes the underline quite nicely. And while I'm here, I might as well change the color from the default blue to secondary color blue. Now, looking good. Okay, so the next thing is we need to position our social media icons down a bit because, as I say, I'd like them to kind of fade up. And I'll leave it there for the moment at minus 20 pixels from the bottom. Okay, so by pushing the social media icons down to the bottom, now they're kind of overspilling out of our team member area. So next up, I think I'm just going to go back in to our team member area and just say something like, overflow is hidden. Okay, that solves one issue. We can still see a tiny bit of the social media icons, but for the moment, I'm just going to hide them with opacity and set that to 0. Okay, awesome stuff. Now our icons are hidden. We will revisit that in a moment to position it a little bit better and add in the interaction when we hover over our div that it slides up. But I think for the moment, I'm going to add in another anchor link for the bottom area, the content area, because we can already click the image, but we can't click the title or the heading and the job role paragraph tag. So let me pop that in now. And I'm just going to copy the anchor link from our image area and paste it into our content area. And close it off there. Indent the heading and the paragraph. Okay, great. Now those two areas are clickable. Okay, great. Now, what's next? Currently, the role, the paragraph tag, is inheriting the color of the link. So let's change that back to the body text of gray. And we can see here the paragraph tag actually doesn't have any color associated with it. So let's probably do that instead. Let's go to the global paragraph tag just up here, and let's pop in a color and say color is var body text, to just do it globally. And that sorts that issue out quite nicely. Right, so the next step will probably be animating these social media icons, this bottom content area, to slide up and then reveal the social media icons underneath. So let's dig into that right now. And I'm going to jump straight into animating this area by first of all copying the team member content area and then just adding a hover pseudo element to the team member. So when I hover over this, the content area will go from the normal bottom state, which is minus 20 pixels, to 3 rem. Just like that there. Now, it looks a little bit janky at the moment, so we'll probably have to add in a transition style for that. So I'll search the style sheet for one of these transition styles and then copy that and paste it into our content area. And there's one there now. So I'll copy that and paste it right there into our content area. And when we hover over a team member now, we get this nice smooth transition. Okay, so it's cool having this nice little transition, but we do need to show our social media icons. So let's concentrate on that part now. So I'm just going to copy this little section here, this team member ul.social media line, and paste it just below. And again, add a hover state or a hover pseudo element. Close that off there. And then all I'm going to say is instead of opacity 0, just opacity 1 to show it, just like that. Now it will require some tweaking and I will have to add in a transition style again. And I'll just actually do that now. So copy that and paste that in there now. So that fades in way better now, nice and easy. So we can probably see here now, there is a bit of an issue with the spacing. I think I'm going to have to change the property of the bottom to maybe minus 10. It's currently minus 20. So just to bring it up a little bit more from the bottom. So I'll do that now. So I'll change that from minus 20 to minus 10. Save that and try again. And yep, that's way better. That's way more uniform. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Okay, getting there. Now, the next part I'm going to tackle is probably, okay, the image. So currently it's grayscale. And when we hover over the team member div yet again, I'm going to create a new style. And I'm going to say the color will be, well, the grayscale will be gone and the color will be normal. So to show the person in their full beauty. So let's do that now. We'll say team member, again, hover. And we want to concentrate on the image tag. So img. And then we'll just say, instead of filter grayscale 1, we'll say filter grayscale 0. And again, we're going to need another transition style here just to make it that nice and smooth kind of style. And yep, I think that looks pretty nifty. And just to make things a little bit more interesting, I'm actually going to scale the image also. Just a small bit, just to add a nice bit of interactivity. So I'll say team member img, transform, scale, and maybe to 1.1, just a small little touch. And yep, I think I'll leave that in. Okay, so that's the guts of our team member. We just need to copy and paste our team member block 3 more times, change the photos and the titles and the roles. And then we'll have a full varied team member section. So first off, I'm just going to copy and paste this team member block here. There we go. And paste that 3 times. So now we have 4 team members there of the same person. And we also need to add in a gap, just like our services and clients. So back into our index.html file, and we can see our grid here, grid row. And I'll just pop in the gap again. So GAP. Save that. And now things are looking a lot better. So yeah, they're all in line with the clients, and that makes me quite happy. I like a nice grid. Right, so everything seems to be kind of ready to go here. We have our team section. We just need to pop in, as I say, our other team members. So what I'm going to do now is speed this up a little bit and do this in the background because it's kind of just a little bit monotonous. So bear with me, I'll be back in a moment. And now there we have it. We have our 4 individual team members: Gareth Marenghi, Lisa Lashes, Ben Parker, and Sarah Flynn. Awesome stuff. Okay, so our team members work fine on desktop. Now we need to tackle the mobile responsive view. But what I'm going to do is to actually exclude the interactivity we've got on desktop view. So the rollovers to show the social media icons, and the zoom in of the photo and the grayscale and stuff like that. So what I think I'm going to do is just exclude that on mobile and just display it on desktop view. So first up, I'm just testing what kind of size media query I need to play with. And I think what I'm going to actually do is the first media query for this area is going to be 1200 pixels, the size of our wrapper. So the moment we go below 1200 pixels, we're going to implement this media query to disable all of the interactivity. So let's create this media query now. With our media query in place, now the first thing I want to do is to first of all get rid of that height on our team member div. So instead of 420 pixels, I'm just going to say auto, so it'll respond to the screen size. Okay, so in mobile view now, we can see that the height is indeed auto and is no longer 420 pixels, but we also have this inherited issue from the desktop view. When we hover over each team member, we get this content area kind of sliding up. So to stop this happening, I'm going to say team member, content area, and position relative. And then I'm going to say the bottom is 0 with a little cheeky important statement there. So when we hover over the team member now, we can see that the bottom content area doesn't actually slide up, which is great. And we do need to tweak the social media icons and the padding and stuff like that, but so far so good. Right, last thing to do in our icon area. So I'm just going to create a new area here for these icons. And I'm just going to, first of all, instead of position absolute, I'm going to say position relative to bring it back into the flow of the document. And as they're currently hidden, I'm going to bring them into full view. And I'm going to say opacity is 1. And that looks like, because we said position relative, the alignment is a little bit out of whack now. So I think to fix that, I can probably say width is 100%. Save that, and yep, boom. And there we go. So now when we hover over a team member, the content area doesn't slide up, but all of our information is still nicely accessible. Okay, so I think I'm just going to give the social media icons a little bit more padding here, a little bit more white space. So I'm just going to say margin top and bottom for the icons is 1 rem. And yeah, I'll leave it there. That looks quite nice. Now let's indent those a little bit there. And now let's target the image. So what we want to do is to remove the transform property for the scale. So I'm just going to say transform is none. Oh, actually, wait, I think I actually need to target the hover state instead of just the image. So let's change that to team member hover. And now there we go. Perfect. Okay, now next up, while we're in this hover state, I want to kind of remove the color when we hover over and still just keep it grayscale. So I'll say filter grayscale is 1. And now while on mobile view, if we try and hover over it, or if we're on a mobile device and we try and touch it, it will still remain gray. So I'm happy with that. So I think we're at a point now where we have our team section kind of done. All that's left to kind of do really for the mobile view is to probably change up the columns. So currently it's 4 columns. We just have to decide when we want to switch it to 2 columns. And I'm guessing that's going to be, let me see here now, probably when we switch down the logos to 2 columns. So I'm going to use that same breakpoint, which is 850 pixels. And I'll just copy this previous media query here and change the value to 850 pixels. So I'll say team member, grid column, span is now 6. Check that out. And boom, now we have our team members on 2 columns. And that's looking quite nice. Now, all I'm going to do is to create one more media query, just for something like maybe 500 pixels for a really narrow mobile phone, and say everything is on 1 column. So span 12, just like that. And that's looking pretty nice. I think we're just about done here. So let me just test again. Oh, I probably just need to remove the red pixel border, but everything else is looking quite nice. Actually, one very last thing before we kind of wrap up. The social media icons here are a little bit too big, 2.6 rem when we go down to mobile view. And I think I'm actually just going to remove this for this area. So to do that, I'm just going to search for this TI icon area, and it's global at the moment. So I'm just going to confine it to the top bar. So I'll say top bar, TI icon. Save that. And now I think the size of the social media icons are perfect. So that's about it. Oh, let me just remove that solid red border here. And now we're good to go. So that's it. We've added another components to our homepage. Next up looks to be the testimonials area. But that's it for today. Thanks very much, and catch you guys in the next one.